Coming up this week on the OK Bloomer podcast.
Yeah, all I wrote about his outfit was that he looks like he's in the Toon Squad from Space Jam. I don't know what that shirt was.
The biggest Mandela effect in history. Screw the Berenstein Bears. It's like, who wore the big hat and blossom? It was 6. It was Jenna Von Oy.
Yeah,
she got no credit.
And somebody there, a priest, sold him the motorcycle for $500. And all I wrote is, this story stinks. I'm already out on like the D plot of this episode.
Ku Klux Klan talk on OK Bloomer. Schmuck, he doesn't care. Schmuck doesn't give a shit. He'll come after anyone. He's like, okay, totally. Schmuck, we'll keep the KKK joke. We got to get rid of the priest molesting jokes, okay? And he's like, fine. You win some, you lose some. Hashtag Schmuck. Phenom? Anyone?
And it's probably A minor.
There it is. So topical. Topical. Thanks, Sal. He's clapping. Phenom's clapping. We got it. We got it.
Oh, amazing. I love it.
Okay, Bloomer podcast is coming for you, Drake. Add us to the list.
Don't know about the future. Don't.
They don't care about the future, because they live it in the past. Sal and Curtis are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than this on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know.
We're watching another episode of the OK Bloomer podcast coming to you from its new house in the DAM network, the Dufferin Avenue Media Network. We're back for another season. We're back for another show. So excited we got this train back on the tracks after it came off in 2022. But when you have a fine facility like the DAM network, you want to make some more content. So the weekly Blossom
you're there in the
review,
DAM network. I'm here recording from a cave.
It looks great, man. The weekly Blossom review show is back up and running. So how's it going, Sal? Without further ado, should we jump into this?
It's going great, man. We're rounding out season 2. We're almost done.
I didn't realize there's only 3 episodes left.
I know. Yeah, we're almost there. We've almost made it to the end of season 2, and I feel like they finished strong. But let's get into it.
Yeah, well, we got 2 of the 3. I haven't seen the third last, but I've seen the next 2. So jump into it. What do you got for us, Phenom?
Monday, April 6th, 1992, Whines and Misdemeanors. IMDb says sometimes even good people lie, like Blossom and Nick and even Joey. Disney Plus says Blossom's tardiness to class begins a web of lies. And TV Database says Blossom forgets her detention slip in order to sneak out to a big rock concert. Nick lies about where he's spending the night after he hits it off with a country singer.
That was great. That was like an AI read. I loved it. Did you give us the date?
Yeah, amazing.
The date was April 6th, 1992.
Nice. Start us off, Sal. Let's jump right into Whines and Misdemeanors.
Oh, so good. By the way, I love the second. I think it was the second one that you said was Disney Plus. That one was the best. Something about a web of lies.
Web of lies seems very dramatic for a episode of Blossom, but yeah, I'm good.
Well, there was lots. There was lots of lies happening, and there's lots to go over. So episode opens. Blossom is on the phone to 6. They have Guns N' Roses tickets for Friday night. And I know that you had the same thought that I did because it's Blossom, and why wouldn't it be? Axl Rose showing up at the end going, "What's up, Blossom? Welcome to the show."
I was taking notes and I looked up. I was like, don't you do this to me, Blossom. Don't you do this. Every single show, it starts with them mentioning a celebrity, and that celebrity shows up at the end of the episode. And I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan. I know you are as well. I was like, if someone from the band shows up on the set of Blossom to end this episode, like I don't even know what I'm going to do with myself. It's like, this may be a 6-hour show.
You were right to expect it.
Right?
Yeah, right? You were right to expect it because it is Blossom, and they use that trope a lot to just tie in a random celebrity cameo. And why the hell wouldn't Axl Rose show up? What was he doing in 1992?
I feel like he'd be a huge fan of Blossom.
Oh, totally.
Judging by how we wrote the male characters last episode, Axl would be a perfect fit for this show.
Absolutely.
To be,
Plus, I could see him wearing the hat with the flower on the front, and
right.
the flannel tied around his waist. He would totally fit into the Blossom universe.
100%. He could push Nick's piano through the wall like he did his own piano, one of his temper tantrums. Also, fun fact, Guns N' Roses, one of the few concerts you and I have seen together. Right?
That might be the only concert we've
I was
seen
trying to
together,
think. I was
to
like,
be
that
honest.
can't be right. But we saw them in Regina and Saskatoon.
I only went to the Regina
Oh,
one.
okay. Yeah, I saw both, and
Yeah.
it was okay. It wasn't the
remember
the full
rolling out-
lineup, but
I remember
it was
rolling out my Steve Urkel sleeping bag on like the living room floor of your aunt's house
good.
in Regina.
I remember the attendance in Saskatoon was so sadly low that we pretty much walked up to the front of the stage, and during the
Wow.
Don't Cry solo, because that was the time where Bumblefoot was just doing Don't Cry to no vocals to give Axl a break, and he would just play one bar and then look out into the crowd and wait 5 seconds and do the next one, and I yelled, "Bumblefoot, you're awesome!" and he legitimately blank and was like, and everybody
Nice.
laughed. I ruined it for everyone, and I was like, "Come on, Saskatoon, they shouldn't be able to hear me from 6 people back, right?" Anyway.
Right.
And number 3, my third point about this, seems like this is actually every other plot of Blossom in season 2, is that they have
Yeah.
tickets for a concert and they're worried their parents won't let them go. And I'm here for it. That's
Yeah.
a great plot. Let's bring in Guns N' Roses to end the show.
I know, right? It's so awesome. But I had a bone to pick with this because 2 episodes ago, they were allowed to line up overnight to buy tickets to CNC Music Factory outside of a sketchy record store. This one, she doesn't know if her dad's going to let her go to a concert.
Well, to be
Which-
fair, there's probably a big difference of attendees between a CNC Music Factory concert and a Guns N' Roses concert in 1992. People
I
waiting in line
suppose
for
that's
CNC Music Factory probably looked like you and I, Sal. Guns N' Roses is probably a little skidlier back in the day. There's probably people getting knifed in that line. Where people at the CNC
Yeah,
Music
alright,
Factory
fair.
just wanted to have some good, clean fun.
They just wanted to do the Running Man and
Wanted to sweat till
I
they
don't know what they
bled.
did.
Sweat till they bled.
So Joey in the background while Blossom's on the phone with Six, and he's casually just going through Blossom's closet to try and find a dress because why not? And I paused right there and I said 2 seconds in, and this episode's gonna be wild
Right?
and possibly very dated, but we'll find out where this is going. This scene took so many turns for me. So Joey needs a dress for a sex doll so that he can drive on the highway in the carpool lane.
It takes a
is
long
where-
time to get there, though, and I really appreciated how it played out. He wants a dress, and it's 1992, so we get some cross-dressing jokes, of course. And Joey wants the dress not to wear, and he says, "No, it's not. I don't want to wear it because that wouldn't be manly. It's for my doll."
Right.
And I actually spit some of my coffee back because that was good. So then he slowly explains it. He wants to dress a sex doll and put it in his car so he can drive in the carpool lane. And he says,
Right.
"It's like an airbag with boobs." And
I
on
remember that
behalf
line,
of
but I
my
didn't clock it.
ex-girlfriend, I'm insulted.
Good stuff. So that
Anything
brings
else
us
on
to
the
the end of the
intro?
cold open. I got nothing.
All right.
And I know the actual intro is all you, so take it away. This is you, Curtis.
It starts. It asks if I want to skip it. I do not. I listened to the whole
Like-
thing, and I'm almost a little sad because I know I've only got 3 of these left before it changes in season 3, correct? When we get the full group of
We're
people.
assuming. We don't know.
And Joey's air punching towards the camera in his sick leather jacket. I think that
I
starts
hope
in the
so.
3rd season. Yeah, I'm kind of done with this, but at the same time,
yeah.
I'm almost sad to see it go. It's our
Little
last
bit.
connection to the dead, what's her face? Helen from season 1.
Agnes.
Agnes, and I swear
Yeah.
she's wearing Agnes's shirt in some of these, her big baggy sweater and some of this dance open that Blossom does. But anyway, we got through the intro.
Yeah.
And we get to the beginning, and I keep my eyes peeled over the credits as usual. We got our Allisons, our Richmonds. They scroll over the top as Joey is blowing up the blow-up doll. And now, okay, stupid question here, Sal. I know this is a real question.
Yeah, go for
Don't
it.
make fun of me for not knowing this, but were blow-up dolls always just used for sex? Because I feel in the 80s they were in everything, and it was just kind of accepted that people had blow-up dolls, and it wasn't oh my god, you got a blow-up doll. I just remember seeing them in in Blossom, you know what I mean?
Right.
Shouldn't you be
I-
making fun of the Russo house for
I
having a blow-up doll? I
don't have an answer for you. The only thing that I can say is my knowledge of blow-up dolls existing are for scenarios like this on sitcoms. where
Yeah.
somebody's using the
Right.
blow up doll, but not for sex.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Yeah, I was like, did they ever serve any other purpose, and they just got like repurposed by men? So, like, it's not what they were made for. However, here comes the dudes.
Yeah, couldn't tell you, but
Okay, thought maybe you had some insight, but that's
I
fine.
don't, unfortunately.
Because it never plays out like, why do you have one of these? How embarrassing! It's always
Right.
like, oh yeah, good, go grab the blow up doll. Let's go put it in the
to
carpool
be
lane.
fair, the why do you have this comes up at the end of this scene, and the explanation paid off. I felt like so. Yeah, the episode starts with the blow up doll wearing Blossom's dress as Joey's struggling to breathe to inhale this thing, and Nick's walking by his bedroom and then doubles back, and it's just good stuff.
Absolutely.
So they're having a conversation about the doll, and there's all these innuendos that I didn't really clock. Something about Joey wants to be in the fast lane, and Nick thinks that he's talking about using the doll for sex, and Joey's talking about using the doll while he's in traffic. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, Joey, you don't need this. And he's like, I'm only going to use it when I'm stuck in traffic. Good stuff. Absolutely
And then
good
and
stuff.
then Nick says, "What's wrong with a real girl?" And Joey says, I can't find a girl that's willing to do this twice a day."
This is some
And then
solid
Joey
writing.
tells him, yeah, this scene was so good, the back and forth with him and Nick, which I love these two characters together, as we've stated before. Eventually, Joey tells him the entire plan. Nick's response is, "You're a very special boy, Joey." And
If I
then
can- Go ahead.
and then Nick asks him here where he got the doll in the first place. And Joey says, "Well, I've had the dolls for years. I just didn't know what to do with it before." Which is just great. Great
This
ending.
is a solid cold open, solid intro, I
Agreed.
thought. To go back a little bit, so Roxy Wink Evans is back. And did you know, I actually looked this girl up. She also produced for Who's the Boss, Different Strokes, and Malcolm in the Middle. Imagine a world where the Wink is working alongside Walter White, right?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Also,
Hey,
Joey
they're bringing
mentioned
back
that.
Malcolm in the Middle for like a limited series.
I know, isn't Frankie
They're do-
Muniz though like his mind's gone?
No, apparently I don't know this for a fact, but apparently that was never true.
Seriously? I read so many articles about that. I went down a rabbit hole one night. I was like, that's so sad. And he was like, yeah, I've got like this weird like young amnesia, early Alzheimer's, and he doesn't even like remember his time on Malcolm in the Middle. So I was just BS.
I mean, I wasn't expecting to talk about this, so I have no
Fair
official
enough. I wasn't
research on
either,
it,
but yeah.
I remember reading somewhere. I remember reading somewhere that he was on a podcast and he debunked that. He was like, my
Wow.
quote was taken out of context. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're doing a reboot on Disney Plus for 4 episodes. So
Well, I hope
maybe they'll bring
Roxy.
the
I hope
Wink
they
back
bring
for that.
back the Wink, because if I know anything, good
I know,
sitcoms
right?
start with Roxy Wink Evans. Joey also said, "Thank God you don't have to blow up real women like this." And I couldn't come up with anything funny to say about that, and I'm really disappointed in myself. I feel like they pitched that right across the plate for me, and I was just like, I don't know, off day. Also, though, we talk about the good writing. Written
Yeah.
by Jonathan Schmock. Who is this new troublemaker? And I already
Oh, I
love
saw that.
what he's putting down here in Blossom. So we may have a new era here, the Schmock era. Because so far the writing in just the first like 4 minutes is probably the best it's been in 10 episodes. Would you agree?
Right.
All right.
Agreed.
All right.
Yeah. I'm on board with the schmuck.
We move to the kitchen.
Downstairs in the kitchen. Yeah.
Anthony comes in hot with a shirt under the tightest basketball jersey I've ever seen in Sal. Plus, he's wearing purple pants. Did you pick up on that? It's a silent nod on how
didn't pick up
he
the
will
purple
play the
pants.
Joker in The Dark Knight 15 years later. Well, he'll play a Joker in The Dark Knight 15 years later.
Sort of. Yeah, all I wrote about his outfit was that he looks like he's in the Toon Squad from Space Jam. I don't know what that shirt was. It was something else, but he reveals that he plays pickup basketball at the local church, and somebody there, a priest, sold him the motorcycle for $500. And all I wrote is, this story stinks. I'm already out on like the D plot of this episode. I wrote, Joey sex doll shenanigans forever. Just give me more of that.
I wrote Anthony won't shut up about this Bonneville motorcycle he bought, and Blossom's trying so hard to bounce. And he
right?
he bought it from a priest, and Anthony says something like, "In a world of scammers, it's nice to know you can still trust a priest." And did you notice he just said the T in priest and it cut? It was the hardest,
a hard
roughest
cut, yeah.
transition out of something, right? It was like Schmock was going for a priest
there was
joke,
more
and
to that,
Roxy
but they
knocked
cut it
the
out.
pencil out of his hand. It's like, you edit, right? It's like when you have to make a cut in the middle of a sentence, how it just doesn't sound right. That's what this was. So
Right. Totally.
So I don't know what the joke was going to be. It's like they were making a joke about a pastor. So I was like, a priest or pastor joke, whatever could it be?
Complete the joke there.
Were they trying to strike a chord? Phenom? Anyone?
And it's probably A minor.
There it is. So topical. Topical. Thanks, Sal. He's clapping. Phenom's
Yes,
clapping.
we
We
did.
got it. We got it.
Oh, amazing. I love it. We
Okay,
got the
Bloomer
phenom.
Podcast's coming for you, Drake. Add us to the list.
No one's safe on the OK Bloomer podcast.
I love this episode. This is
So-
where I looked up Jonathan Schmock. And while IMDb credits Don Rio as the co-writer for every single episode, the last episode that I really hated
Right.
was Rio and Glenn Mercer. Screw Glenn Mercer. And this one
Get
is
out of here,
Rio
Mercer.
and Jonathan Schmock. What else did Jonathan Schmock write on, apparently, you ask? Apparently, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you go to the Jonathan Schmock
What?
page, he lists himself as, helping write Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But if you go to the Ferris Bueller's page, there's no mention of Jonathan Schmock. So I don't know what
John
to make of
Hughes
this guy.
just took all that credit.
Right? I don't know, Hughes. If you knock the Schmock, I
Jonathan
feel like I need to
Schmock.
clean your clock. Don't be... Okay.
Don't knock the schmuck.
Right? That's the next OK Bloomer shirt. Don't mock the schmock on the back. You mock
Oh
the
my
schmock,
God,
we'll clean
so
your
good.
clock. That's good stuff. Okay. Also, as I was writing about Jonathan Schmock and looking him up, the Disney Plus screensaver for Blossom has a group shot of the Russo family, and there's 3 characters. I don't know who they are. So this must be from the last
I
season or
remember
something.
seeing
So
that.
there is we have some characters to meet in the future, Sal.
Can't wait.
All right.
Can't wait. So we get too many cooks outside the school. Blossom's late for class. I just wrote Mrs. Ubermeyer. Blossom makes a gas joke here because they're talking about gases, and then Six has the most Blossom hat imaginable. Once again, it's Six that's the one that's wearing these hats, and Blossom's not wearing them.
It's the
But
biggest
she took all the cred.
what
She
do you
pulled a
call
Don Rio when it came to the hats.
What do you call the Berenstain Bears thing?
Oh yeah, the Mandela effect.
The biggest Mandela effect in history. Screw the Berenstain Bears. It's like, who wore the
Right.
big hat in Blossom? It was Six. It was Jenna Von Oy.
Yeah,
She gets no
totally.
credit.
So, yeah, Blossom's late for the class, not because of Anthony talking about the motorcycle, but because she was in the hallway talking to Jimmy Warren.
Yeah.
So they get busted in class, and then Blossom gets everybody a pop quiz. Nobody seems really mad. I feel like if a girl got me a pop quiz in class, I'd be like, "What the are you doing?"
Totally.
Like,
if it
no
was
one cared.
Blossom, 100%. If it was Six,
yeah.
be fine with it.
So they're still talking about Jimmy, and now they're passing notes, and they get busted once again. But again, there's a hard cut out of this scene where nothing really pays off.
I wrote things are going from bad to worse for the gals this
Right.
week. They're deep in it. So this is great stuff. I'm glad I can do this part. Next up is Nick giving this week's big-haired cleavage showing women a music lesson, but surprise, surprise, looks around and she's like, skinny unemployed musician living with 3 adult kids. Oh, I can't get enough of this. She's so attracted to him, she just can't help
Right.
herself. Yeah,
She couldn't keep her hands off him. I put random skank number 43 is all over him.
totally.
It's Reba McEntire, but it's not Reba McEntire, and she's very horny for Nick.
Right? But they have a history. He was on tour with her as part of her band back in the day. And
Right.
she's like, you were on tour and you wouldn't even look at me because you was married. And Nick's like, oh, I was looking. And I know we disagree about the Nick character a lot often, Sal. Probably the biggest thing we've disagreed on. But I'm here to say, Nick
To date,
Russo.
yeah. There it is.
Like, you wonder why you're divorced? Oh, I don't know. No.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, Nick was incredibly skeezy in this episode.
Right?
Like, it's just there's no way to defend it. He is a
Yeah.
total skis ball in
If
this
Cyndi
episode.
Lauper's true
They
colors was a
basically,
person, it'd be Nick this week.
She
But-
remembers him having a Fu Manchu, which is something else.
And then we
And
get this.
he's-
Okay, ready for some schmuck, just gold. I feel
Some
like they
schmuck
use
gold,
this
hit me.
joke. They use this setup and delivery almost every episode of Blossom. She goes, "So you still interested?" No, he asks her if she's still interested in him, and she goes, "Does David Duke wear a pointy hat?" And I went, "Please tell me that's a Ku Klux Klan joke." So I looked up David Duke. Okay,
It's 100% has to be, but I didn't even clock that joke at all.
David Duke, Sal, former Grand Wizard, conspiracy theorist, and straight up Holocaust denier. And the title of Kanye West's next album.
Love it.
In 2013, he was called...
No rappers are safe today.
In 2013, he was called America's most well-known racist. And that's a tough title to hold on to these days, man. How pissed must he been with competition in 2025, right?
Oh my God, yeah, totally.
Ku Klux Klan talk on OK Bloomer. Schmuck, he doesn't care. Schmuck doesn't give a
Wow.
shit. He'll come after anyone.
Schmuck, yeah. Oh man,
Schmuck takes
Schmuck
no
is just-
prisoners.
He ain't no schmuck.
I'm mad I fumbled my.
So,
I'm,
Nick
I'm,
did,
I'm mad I fumbled the delivery of that. Kanye West next album. I'm really
that was
proud of
great.
that. So topical
That's
this week.
brilliant.
Okay,
I didn't even clock the joke from the show, so I
I
got
wrote the
nothing on that.
Horleys on his piano. Take it away.
Yeah, Nick's trying to keep it professional, but she just swipes all of the sheet music off the top of the piano, and yeah, they basically just start going at it right on top of the piano, and as if on cue, here comes Buzz strolling in, looking like Tony Soprano, eating popcorn.
Buzz comes home from the bada bing in his tracksuit. He stands
Yeah, we
there
both
eating
clocked that.
popcorn, watching his daughter's ex-husband
Yeah.
and Reba McEntire bang on top of the piano.
So weird. He's just standing there watching him. Then they realize he's there, and they both like perk up. And he's like, I knew you had a session today, but I didn't know you were scoring." And
I wrote, that's a
it's
really
music
smart
and
music
a
joke.
sex pun.
That's a really
Right?
smart music joke. Yeah, I appreciated that. Schmuck
And
is
then
just
I didn't really.
throwing home run after home run. He's knocking him out of the park.
He's hitting dinger after dinger. I didn't really clock why Buzz was there. He was like, "Why are you in my house?" And he said he's there to watch the seniors triathlon.
Yeah, I didn't really
And
track that.
I-
There was some lame senior joke.
It's
But Nick
that's gotta be
introduces
Don
her and he
Rio's
goes, "This is Sammy
contribution to the
Tate,
episode."
a singer I'm working on. I'm working with." And Buzz
Yeah.
goes, "Can I get you anything? Coffee, tea, a hotel room? Nah, how about you just get the out of my house, old man?
Yeah,
how about that,
totally.
Buzz?"
What are you doing here? What are you doing here? So Sammy ends up inviting Nick over to her house, which is in Malibu, which I don't know. I don't know California at all, but I'm assuming it's a very long car ride away.
Malibu
So
sounds
he's
like where all
abandoning his
country music
family.
singers live.
Right. So he's abandoning his family to go get some, but he has to write them a note first. And then she says something about, what if your kids get into trouble? He goes, "My kids in trouble? Never." And then we get a hard cut to Blossom going, "Detention. I can't believe I got detention."
Pacing is so good in this. Like, honestly,
Right?
this is a great
Yeah.
episode. So she
Yeah,
has
so what
detention.
happens next?
She's going to need her slip signed by her dad, but if she does, her dad won't let her go to the Guns N' Roses concert with Jimmy and his friend. Six says, "Hey, sign it yourself. Forge it." And then, zany principal alert. He walks another student out and reminds them
right.
that lab rats and Bunsen burners don't mix. Crowd laughs because it's hilarious
Yeah.
because that kid burnt an animal alive in school. Oh, that's comedy. And then I wrote, Cool principal sits like Mr. Peepers and chats with the girls.
Bah, bah,
He's
bah.
like Gollum on the edge of that chair.
I said with his lame ass tie and the pencil behind his ear, you know this guy's one cool dude. And what a lucky break for Blossom. He's filling in as the sub principal while their regular vice principal is in court, which goes unexplained. But just to backtrack earlier, she's talking about going to the concert with Jimmy and Al, and I guess Jeff and Greg from CNC Music Factory are old news. They kicked those guys to the curb.
Right? Sorry. We got to upgrade. We got Greg and Alan.
Yeah.
Right? That's
So
more of a Guns N' Roses crowd.
Right.
To be fair, I like Greg and Alan a lot better.
It's Jimmy and Al, and Jeff and Greg were the old guys.
Oh, okay. I don't even see. Just
It
like
doesn't
Blossom
matter.
and Six,
You
the
don't
men are in this. The boyfriends are just replaceable. I don't even know.
Yeah,
I don't
it
clock 'em.
doesn't. It doesn't matter. But anyway, so Blossom catches a lucky break until he catches her in a lie because she said her dad's car broke down this morning, which is why she was late. But he says that he knows that's a lie because Joey parked in his parking spot earlier that morning.
That's good stuff.
So yeah, but he's pretty cool about it. He ends up giving her 1 week detention. He says, "Don't worry, Six will show you the ropes."
And then they do the mugshot thing.
Yeah, they end the scene where like they face each other, and then it like clicks, and it's in black and white, and it's like a mugshot. And they turn to the camera and do the same thing.
I appreciated that.
Yeah, funny,
It's good
funny. It
stuff.
worked. Yeah,
Oh, I'll let you keep going because I want to know who this guy is.
yeah. So it cuts to detention, and there's a 40-year-old man sitting at a desk, carving it with a giant knife, and he's creating art. Apparently, he does a bunch of maps on all the desks. And then he starts asking them why they're in detention. Blossom tells him because she lied, and he just kind of like brushes her off, makes her go sit in the back corner. He says he got detention for stealing the flagpole. And then he decides to start. Oh, yeah. And then Six makes up a fake reason as to why she's in detention. She does her fast talking Six thing, which I didn't really clock, but he appreciates it, lets her sit beside him, and then starts carving her portrait into the desk. And that's pretty much the entire scene.
I wrote, he's got detention for stealing the flagpole. The audience laughs, and I think that's probably just a euphemism for something. I don't know.
Oh,
So in the kitchen,
Moving on.
Blossom and Anthony are in each other's grills. They both claim that this was the absolute worst day of their lives. And Anthony says, well, I'm older, so I win because I've had more days, which took me a second to roll that around in my mind. Oh, yeah, that's true. You win for that.
Sure.
So it turns out his bike he wouldn't shut up about before was stolen. Anthony bought it from the patron saint of something, stolen bikes or something. I kind of missed that. But I'm sure it was funny because the schmuck can only hit. He's a writing god. Blossom asks.
Well, he said.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. He just said that he had the pleasure of playing basketball with Father Swifty. And I wrote, that's pretty funny because like today, Father Swifty would mean something completely different.
100%. I guess I'm a Father Swifty.
Oh, and then I took note, right? And then I took note of this because he said this is, I said this is probably not the worst thing a priest has ever done. But he ended up calling him the patron saint of Grand Theft Auto, which today would also mean something completely different.
Right? I would love that title.
Yeah, you're the patron saint of Grand Theft Auto.
Blossom asks if that guy was even really a priest, and Anthony goes, I didn't check his pockets for bingo cards. What does that mean? Priests play bingo?
Bingo
I'm serious,
at the
I
local
don't get
church?
that. I don't get that.
Yeah, I'm assuming it had something to do with how you play bingo at a local church.
I guess.
So maybe
I don't think it must be a
did
U.S.
that.
thing. I've never seen a bingo here in Canada have a church play bingo in Canada. I don't know. I didn't know that was a thing. And I grew up in church. It was never
might
like,
be right.
hey, come back tonight. We're playing bingo. I don't know, man.
Well, at least the priest didn't try and steal his flagpole. So,
right. You know, schmuck.
Anthony
There's
says,
so many of those jokes on the cutting floor. Right?
Oh my God,
Schmuck went for the
There
jugular.
has to be.
He's like,
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
schmuck, we'll keep the KKK joke. We got to get rid of the priest molesting jokes, okay? And he's like, fine. You win some, you lose some. Hashtag schmuck.
So Tony says he hates people that lies, and then says, "So what'd you get detention for?" Blossom says, "I lied." Good stuff.
It's great stuff. So then they find Dad left a note on the fridge that says he's out helping a sick friend and he'll be back home tomorrow morning. And Blossom was like, "That's our dad, selflessly giving himself to others." And I thought Schmock really snuck that one in.
Brilliant.
Jimmy Warren calls the house and Blossom like cabbage patches over to the phone.
Yeah, the dance that she made to the phone was so funny. And it turns out Jimmy has backstage passes. And I wrote, they're totally going to do Blow with Guns N' Roses.
Right? And she decides to forge that signature so quickly and rightfully so. But first of all, lies. And not the Guns N' Roses album. I don't think GNR ever gave out like a backstage meet and greet at any concert back in the 90s. And if they did, girl, don't go. Don't go, Six and Blossom.
Yeah, don't do it, Blossom.
Right? Then suddenly Joey calls from jail, and I'm like, I don't know if I've ever felt this happy in an episode of Blossom. It was just like, what's happening now? Like, give me more Schmock. What are we doing now?
Yeah.
Joey's in jail.
Well, you're missing the Z plot here, because first Tony brings in a gin-filled protein shake to Buzz, who's been sitting on the couch for 6 hours. What is this storyline? I don't understand it. But yeah, this is great. So Joey phones Tony from jail, and then Joey's like, "Oh yeah, they remember you here." And then Tony says, "What happened?" And then Joey starts listing off all the reasons that Tony would have gotten arrested. And I thought that was great stuff. But as he's listing it off when he's in jail, the camera's just doing a slow zoom out. Did you notice that Sergeant Slaughter was standing behind Joey?
I did. It's amazing. I was laughing
That
and
cop
writing
was-
during that part.
Yeah, that cop was totally Sergeant Slaughter. Go back and watch it.
I wouldn't doubt. I'll have to go back and
Yeah.
check that out. If I had any Sergeant Slaughter
Yeah,
jokes,
so he got
I'd say it right now. But I don't remember anything
Yeah,
about Sergeant
well.
Slaughter. And then he called people maggots, didn't he? That was his whole 1-2 punch. And he was never actually in the army for real.
Yeah.
That's our Slaughter. Yeah, Joey got a ticket for driving
That's
the
about it.
carpool
Right.
lane. And
Yeah,
Dad,
so now Nick has to leave his fling for the evening and come down and get him. And before Tony hangs up on Joey, he says, "Act tough and don't slow dance with anyone."
so they're like, "Well, we got to call Dad." And Buzz is like, "Yeah, you call Dad," because Buzz knows Nick's lying, right? Because they're like, "Well, we
Right.
got to call Dad, but he's with a sick friend." And Buzz is like, "Oh, where is he now?" I really enjoyed that dynamic of like Buzz having that power and not narking him out, being like, "Yeah, you call him, you do the right thing, you need to call him, right?" Because he wants to break up that party.
I
and
took a
see Nick
screenshot of
suffer.
Buzz's face here. I took a screenshot of Buzz's face here because it made me laugh so hard when he reacted to it. He was like, and just his reaction, he was like, "Sick friend Sammy? What are you talking about? He's not with his sick friend Sammy." I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see that. It's funny because I took a screenshot. I don't know if I still have it. It may be in the next episode of a Buzz reaction. That's so good.
Oh my god.
He's
so
slowly
funny.
winning my heart over, this character. I feel
know,
like they may have
I
just
know,
been
especially
waiting
in
for
that
like the actual
tracksuit.
actor to pass away because they're just giving him nothing anymore. He's just like existing in this Blossom universe. And like, oh, showed up again this week. I guess we got to write him in. Schmock is like, "God, all right, let's give him some lines." So Blossom calls,
so he
and
totally
Sammy is like naked in bed, and Nick is humming in the shower. I didn't need that.
No.
Too many cooks. And Joey walks in back to the Russo house with the dress and the half-deflated blow-up doll. And Nick walks in and says, "Get that dummy out of here." And Anthony puts his arm around Joey and goes, "Come on, Joe." And I saw that joke coming a million miles away, and I still popped for it.
Still works. I love when Joey comes in and he's just like, "Goodbye table, goodbye couch, goodbye Tony." Like he's just saying goodbye to everything because Nick's gonna kill him. And then Nick walks in afterwards, like super pissed. He's mad because he got a $287 ticket for driving in the carpool lane. And he says, "Do you know what that is in kid money?" And I thought that was pretty funny.
He goes, "Your driving privileges are suspended, Joey." And Joey goes, "Does that mean no car?" So we move to the lawyer showdown between Blossom and Nick, and I'm honestly pumped to see how they decide to play this out, like how Schmock writes this next scene.
Right.
right? Like, who's going to be aggressive? Who's going to be defensive? Are they going to like fight and realize they're both wrong? And no, Nick immediately like kind of falls on his sword, right? He's like, I'm sorry for lying.
Yeah.
I really wasn't expecting that. But again, the dynamic where Nick and Blossom have adult conversations always works. What a good way to end the show. They're having this back and forth.
This one was really good though, because their back and forth was so quick when Nick was saying all the reasons that he lied, and then Blossom would try and follow up with her reasons why she lied, and just like the quick dialogue between the two, like stuff like that on this show works. And I thought
absolutely,
and
really I loved funny. How, like you explained, he was like, it's never okay to lie, and she's like, quit being so hard on yourself, and he's like, no, and they go back and forth a few times, and he goes, when I lie, it sets a bad example. If you see me lying, then maybe you think it's okay to lie. And she's like, hold on. She sees her get out of jail free card, and I was like,
yeah, totally.
So, so she pivots and she's like, well, there's
they
some
end up
truth
having
to what
like
you're saying.
Yeah. So they end up having like a discussion at the table, and he comes to the conclusion she's grounded for a month, but she is allowed to go to the Guns N' Roses concert.
Because that's his punishment. He's going to punish her by being grounded for a month, and he's going to punish himself by letting her still go to the Guns N' Roses concert. And I cannot tell if Blossom is wearing pajamas or not. I have no idea what that outfit was.
Totally.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was odd. So they make a pact never to lie again. As if on cue, the telephone rings, and Sammy is phoning for Nick. And Nick goes to Blossom, tell her I'm not here. Tell her I'm not here. So he's already ghosting her. He got what he wanted, and he's Splitsville now.
That's literally what I wrote down. Thoughts on that, Sal? Here's Nick Russo just banging another girl and never calling her back.
Nick Russo's going to Nick Russo, man. You know what I mean?
And then I wrote, come on, Axel, knock on the front door, or Slash, or Duff, or Izzy, or Matt, or Bumblefoot, or Buckethead, or Brain, or Melissa, or hell, I'll even take Steven Adler at this point. But no, they make their pact. Yeah, we missed one thing, though, if I can go back.
Go for it.
So, yeah, I really liked how she was like, well, I lied about being late. And Nick's like, I don't care. And she's like, well, and then I lied about passing notes. I got busted for that. And he's like, well, you weren't really cheating, so I really don't care. And like, as a dad, I was feeling that. I was like, I don't really care. You know, I trust both those things. And then he's like, so just let me sign the signature and we'll never talk about this again. She's like, I actually kind of forged your signature. And he's like, okay, well, that's a big deal, you know? I really like that moment where that's kind of where you have to draw the line. Where you're like, okay, actually, now we have to take some action because, well, the first two are pretty inconsequential. That's a pretty big deal, forging someone's signature. Yeah, so Sammy, blah, blah, we did that. True Nick Russo fashion. He had sex with her, so now he never wants to see her again. And, make sure you're not setting a bad example for your daughter by lying, but bang any woman with a pulse and immediately ghost her. That's great, Nick. What a role model, right?
But for real, cue credits. The episode's over right there.
For real,
funny Nick's ending. Never gonna call this woman again.
Funny ending, like strong ending. This episode, the writing from start to finish was just one of, if not the absolute best written episodes I've seen in season 2.
I love this episode.
Sure. Yeah,
I was legitimately laughing throughout the episode.
And then to tie it up,
well done.
To give everybody their story conclusion, we go back to 6, who's still in detention, and that guy's like carving her face into the desk.
Yeah, he finishes the portrait of her that he's carving into the desk and then rips the top of the desk off and gives it to her. And she's like, oh, thank you, and leaves.
And that's it.
And that's our credit scene for the episode.
To finish,
but yeah, overall, man.
This was a perfect episode, Sal. This is what the show should be. There were teenage problems, actions, consequences. The male characters didn't just Homer Simpson stumble forward, winning through life. Everyone had a story arc, and the payoffs intertwined. The writing was never low-hanging fruit. This episode has given me hope and strength to continue.
Well said. I agree. Loved it. Love this episode. Probably one of the best ones that we watched, at least in season 2. And from start to finish, it was just solid. Everything wrapped up nicely at the end. Great episode of Blossom.
We're going to bring in some new music and post for the takeaway of today. And I don't even have anything written down. I kind of forgot about it, but
I completely
forgot. As the new piano music
it.
starts, my takeaway, I guess, would be you have to pick your battles as a parent. There's, you know, the little lies and the big lies, and I thought this was actually a really good episode that showed that, and the progression of lying getting out of hand, and it's okay, suddenly it's not okay. And props to Schmock. As much fun as I had with Schmock today, this is a great episode. Like, an actual perfect episode of what this show should be, I feel like, back in 1992, given their demographic and their slot on Monday nights. Like, this is it. This is right here. This is a perfect episode.
I can't say anything better than that. I think that's I think the whole lesson learned is your thing anyway. So I'll just let you go with that. I tracked the pit characters for the week.
Do it.
I don't know if you
I didn't do
that.
anything. I texted you. I said I'll do the as usual. I'll make sure the Allisons and the Richmonds are here during the opening credits and see who's writing. But I leave the pit characters and the research up to you. And I need to know how I know that giant guy in detention, because I feel like he's been in everything.
Well, let's start first with Sammy and Mrs. Ubermeyer. Sammy was played by Lee Garlington. Mrs. Ubermeyer was played by Dina Dietrich. They both had, you know, decent careers of popping up in all the shows around this time. Nothing really stood out to me, and both end up in the pit this week. The cool vice principal, Mr. Cunningham, was played by Jonathan Prince. And it looks like, according to his IMDb, he's mostly a producer now. Wait, isn't Jonathan Prince?
I was going to say, Jonathan Prince, isn't that the guy that produces this show?
I just put that together right now.
That was Mr.
As
Peepers?
I said it out loud. Yeah. He must be a writer on the show.
Wow.
So, yeah,
them,
as I said,
look at them doing The Office, and they're like, well, we need a character. Get in there.
Totally. So he's mostly a producer now. I flagged one thing that you might like. He appeared in Halloween 2 as Randy.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
he is also in the pit. So we have.
I wonder if an actor like bailed at the last minute and he was like, I got this. I know exactly how like fill-in principals act. And then he sat like Golem in a chair.
Could be, or it could just be that Office thing where it's like, oh, we got this part, and I think you'd probably just, you know, fit this part the best.
Schmock was like, you're a brilliant actor. You're a brilliant actor, Jonathan. I need to get you. The camera loves you. That's probably how he like kept writing, because I think Schmock wrote another like 9 episodes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So moving on to your guy, Francis, was played by Abraham Ben Ruby. He was the detention guy.
Yeah.
And the only thing of note that I actually tracked that he was in was he has played Santa Claus in A Country Christmas, Christmas Bloody Christmas, and Holiday Touchdown, A Chief's Love Story, which is that Hallmark movie that...
That sounds like an adult movie.
No, it's that Hallmark Christmas movie that came out about the Kansas City Chiefs and, you know, like Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
So like this year, basically?
Yeah, and like his mom was in it, and it was like a big deal, like Christmas movie that came out on Hallmark, because it was kind of mirroring the story of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Anyways, He played Santa Claus in all 3 of those movies, which I thought was very interesting because he was a towering man. He was gigantic. I mean, I know that they were teenage girls, but he literally towered over them when he stood up from the desk.
That's insane. I swear I saw that guy in like everything.
He did look very familiar, but I also didn't track anything of note that we may have seen him in. But also ends up in the pit. We don't see this guy again.
Wow. I also may have been getting him mixed up with that other large guy that was in like American History X, the like racist at the beginning that was like singing along with he's all like buff and skinny now, whoever that actor is. I think he was in like Mallrats 2 or something.
Oh, Ethan Suplee.
Yes,
he was
that
on
guy.
Boy Meets World. Wasn't he Vader's son on Boy Meets World?
Yes, he was the bully in Boy Meets World. That's maybe who I was getting him mixed up with.
Yeah.
All right.
Nah, fair. I think that's probably what they were going for. And that's the end of my notes for this episode.
Be more supple. Get out there. Be more supple. It's fair criticism. I get it often.
All right. Well, on that note, should we hand it over to the Phenom? What do we got next?
Oh, I don't know if I have this. I don't know if he has this information ready. We'll tap dance till he's ready.
Next up,
Oh, no.
we got season 2, episode 23, Driver's Education.
23 out of 24.
Love it.
We're almost done season 2.
That's the other thing I thought of too when I first threw on this episode was like, do you miss the days, or is it better now that TV shows aren't like 22, 24 episodes in a season? Because I feel like when you do that many episodes, there's a lot of filler. Whereas now with like Netflix and streaming, there's like 10 to 15 episodes. Even Sunny Philly does it now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like every episode has the opportunity to be good because there's no filler.
That's a really healthy way of looking at it. I always bounce back and forth. Like, I remember getting the first seasons of X-Files, and there was like 28 episodes, and I was like, man, people are so lazy today. They're so lazy. And then I watched season 1, and yeah, like you said, like every third episode was amazing, and every 2 and third were like filler, So yeah, I get what you're saying. That's
it's
probably
a big commitment.
It's probably a combination of both of like cost cutting and actually tightening up the writing.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Right.
There's definitely some exceptions to
Just
the
an
rules,
observation.
though. I think that was another like HBO
Yeah.
ruined it, where they're like, we're going to give you 8 episodes a season, and they're going to be really good.
Yeah. I think, to that extent, I think streaming has also done the same thing where it's ruined it in that way as well. But
And they're getting away from it. They're
just,
releasing 1 episode a week now, which we're back to where we were
Now
with
they're
cable. If I could
they're
be an old
cycling
man,
back
it's
to
like
where it was,
now you
yeah.
just have to
Yeah.
buy like 5 and 6 different streaming packages, and they have ads, and you only get 1 a week. New
and they have
episodes.
ads, which is the worst part.
we're no better off
That's
than we were.
that's
in,
our
like,
yelling at the cloud
2010.
moment for the end of this one.
Not like the OK Bloomer. We'll never fill this thing with ads. And if you do see ads, it's because you didn't.
Yeah, that's right.
You didn't get pro. You're too poor to watch OK Bloomer.
And if we do have ads, if we do end up having ads, thank you for sponsoring us. I don't know
too
who
as
would
well.
want to.
Yeah. I don't even know how it works, Sal.
Contact at dufferin.com.
Sell for us. There you go.